I absolutely love lying about my height, but not in the way that you might think. You see, when dudes lie about their height, 9 times out of 10, it's to seem taller. Round up that 5'10 to 6 foot. Round up that 5'7, 5'8 to 5'10, because you want to seem taller, right? Nobody wants to admit that they're shorter than they actually are. My actual height is 5'11, which is painfully average. I wish I was taller, but I'm not. I live with it just fine. I've grown comfortable with the fact that I'm not going to grow anymore. But what I absolutely love to do is say that I'm 5'7 to 5'5 is the perfect sweet spot for me. Because when I say that, and I'm in a group of other guys and they're talking about their heights, and the conversation, oh, how tall are you, comes up, I love seeing the fucking color drain from their faces when I'm very much clearly taller than them, and these are the same dudes preaching that they're 6 foot. Meanwhile, I'm fucking hovering over them and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm 5'5. Bro, that shit is fucking hilarious. Like, their eyes pop out of their head like they're cartoon characters. Like when Mr. Krabs, like, had to take his eye sockets out and start cleaning them to see better. They're like, no, you're not. You're lying because I'm 6 foot, so you're at least 6'2, 6'1. Bro, I don't even know why people lie about their height in the first place. I do it because I like torturing people, and it's fun to look at their reactions. But when people do it because they think it's going to make them look better or because they're embarrassed of their current height, bro, it's not that deep. You know, we all wish that we were a little taller, but you know what? The man with the bike wishes he had a car. The man with the car wishes he had a jet. The man with the jet wishes he was younger again. Something like that. Just be happy with your height. But man, lying about my height is my favorite rage bait tactic. Shout out to Glitz Exo. I think that's where I learned that term. Do y'all remember the Pokenut Year guy? Oh my goodness. Now this is an old one. If you don't know who the Pokenut Year guy is, it's this content creator who dedicated an entire year to jerking off to a different type of Pokemon. He would get like a little roulette wheel, like a randomizer, and it would give him a random Pokemon, and that is the Pokemon that he had to bust a nut to for that day. And, you know, I was tuned into the series for a little bit. Obviously, I didn't watch all 364 entries of Pokenut Year because I just didn't have the time, nor did I feel compelled to see all the Pokemon that he jerked off to. But something that I noticed as I was skimming through the series is that you can see the life force drain from his eyes as the year goes on. It's like he was jerking away his will to live every single day. And hey, call him what you want, that is dedication. He committed to Pokenut Year and he completed it, which is not something anyone else can say. I don't know anyone else that can say they completed a full year jerking off to various different Pokemon that they randomly got assigned. Only he can do that. Now, is that the greatest achievement in all of mankind? Maybe not. I'd argue there are a few achievements that are a little higher than that, but man, I wonder where he is now. And I wonder if like the sight of Pokemon just gives him absolute Vietnam flashbacks, like a Winter Soldier episode, and he's just like instinctively jerking off to the Pokemon again. Would you rather get fingered by Freddy Krueger or get domed from a xenomorph? You stumble across a perverted grand wizard who has otherworldly powers unlike anything you've ever seen, but he can only get off by watching people do very specific things. So he calls upon you and gives you the humble request: get fingered by Freddy Krueger or get head from a xenomorph. If you decline his request, he will pop your head and you will die. So it's either death or choose one of the two options. In this hypothetical, regardless of which option you choose, he will teleport you into an alternate dimension. In this alternate dimension, you will have to do what you have to do, but when you come back to the real world, all of your physical and bodily harms will be completely gone. So once you come back, you might be mentally scarred, but physically you will be fine and you'll be able to live out the rest of your life. And he also allows you to conjure any 3 items that you want to bring to the other dimension. The only caveats are that you cannot bring any weapons, and you cannot plan on hurting Freddy Krueger or the Xenomorph. No matter what happens, you will still experience extremely excruciating pain, whether that's through Freddy Krueger's knife hands going all the way up your ass, or just having the Xenomorph do what he does best, and he's gonna bite things. He's gonna bite some things for sure. So, which of the 2 options are you choosing? This hypothetical really is pick your poison, but on the bright side, when you come back to the real world, you're gonna be completely fine. It's like nothing ever happened. You'll still have the haunting memories of what occurred in that alternate dimension, but your physical body for the rest of your life will be fine and will have no consequences. If I had to choose, I'm gonna go with the Xenomorph. Why? Because I know that when he's doing it, he's gonna bite my shit clean off, and it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt a lot. But if I choose Freddy Krueger and he's doing the thing, it's gonna be extremely painful for a longer amount of time. At least with the alien, the Xenomorph, it's one and done, right? It's over. Like, sure, I become a girl, but hey, at least he got it done quick. Freddy Krueger is gonna be slow and excruciating, and I don't want to get my head popped. There's a secret third option. Like I said, you can decline his request and just your head will explode. But I don't want. Boiling hot take. Cults are bad, and if you participate in a cult, then you are a stupid person. The reason I'm making this video is because of the TikTok cult that got super duper popular, Children of the Waning Stars, I believe it's what it's called. So this girl started that cult, and it was like a fun little trend, starting a cult day 1, 2, 3, 4. And then, you know, shit started going south. You had motherfuckers carving the symbol of the cult into their skin. I say carving in air quotes. It looks more like a flesh wound, but you get it, right? There were people making entire shrines dedicated to the cult. Bro, are we dead ass? Are we dead ass? Why are we doing this? I don't have to explain to you why cults are a harmful ideology, but I'll do it anyway. Cults are bad because the entire point of them is to erase the ability to think for yourself until you become a sheep to the cult leader. And once that happens, hijinks ensue, bad things happen. Search up Jonestown, Children of God, Heaven's Gate, Order of the Solar Temple, any of those cults that I just named. You'll see that people die. People die. It's a lot of murder-suicides, usually what happens in the case of a cult. And what I'm trying to say is, do I think this girl started this entire little movement in order to get anyone to die for her? No, I don't think so. Obviously, she went forward on her story and her made posts saying like, oh, I wanted this to be an all-inclusive space where we could all be friends. Cult was just a silly little name. I didn't want it to be bad, but, you know, I can only give her so much leeway because she's a grown woman who very well knows what a cult is. But she decided to start one anyway. And to anyone that has the little cult emojis on their name, it was like a purple emoji and something else, and they can't change it for like a week, I just want you to know you're a fucking idiot, and you deserve to get made fun of. Is there anything else I want to say? Yeah, point of the video, cult's bad. If you join cult, you bad. You stupid. I'm seeing a lot of people hate on new Roblox animations, the ones that are extremely popular, and it's always with that same doodle bob audio, where it's like, me foy, 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 me, like, you get the one. Oh my god, that shit's funny. But I decided to go look at them myself, because truthfully, how bad could these animations be to garner this much hate? And after checking them out, I came to the conclusion that they are not that bad. I feel like it's one of those cases of the new viral opinion dropped and people start hating just to hate. Am I saying that the animation memes that they're making fun of aren't corny? No, they're corny as fuck. I'm not gonna hold you. They are not the greatest. I feel like I'm in the minority here when I say that I don't really mind, nor do I care, because I grew up watching like animatic memes on YouTube, which, you know, it takes a lot to make me cringe, is what I'm trying to say. I have a pretty thick skin when it comes to that stuff, so it's not like this bothered me too much. But I will say this, old Roblox animation, although it might be a little lesser in quality since obviously it's older, fucking solos the new gen shit, bro. The Last Guest, that entire 90-minute movie is absolute cinema. That shit is peak. That shit has better character development than the entirety of Has Been Hotel and Hell of a Boss combined. Oh my goodness, why don't they bring back The Last Guest? Or not even that, why can't we just bring back more long-based story form animation for Roblox? Like The Last Guest, but that shit was amazing. But now we have this, which, you know, the people that are hating on it, I feel like you're kind of overreacting a bit, but it is what it is. Do y'all remember Skylanders? This was one of my favorite games to play growing up because that shit was so peak. You had the toys, you put them on the portal, and then they started fighting and beating shit up in the game. Yo, little kid me was absolutely impressed. I remember the first Skylanders game that I ever got into was Skylanders Giants. And after that, I played every subsequent game, is that how you say it? I played every game that came after. And I was collecting the Skylanders. In fact, I still have my backpack full of my old Skylanders in my room right now. And it was goated, bro. The fall off of Skylanders has to be studied though, because just as quickly as they came up, those motherfuckers crashed and burned. I don't think they're making any new Skylanders games anymore, for good reason. The new games are some hot ass. Everything after Skylanders Swap Force was mid, in my opinion. Trap Team was like their last okay game, and then everything after Trap Team was some absolute dog shit that could not compare to what the earlier games were. The OG Skylanders, Spyro's Adventure, Skylanders Giants, Skylanders Swap Force, that's the holy trinity right there. Oh my goodness, they were so peak. I remember one time, I was in New York. We had a family vacation to New York, and my dad took me to the Toys R Us that was inside of the New York, and it had a fucking Ferris wheel inside of it. And I wanted to get this limited edition Trigger Happy, but there was this other kid who also wanted to get it, so I fucking elbowed him into the Ferris wheel, and he got a nosebleed, but I got the Trigger Happy, so yeah. Skylanders, fucking peak. I remember Disney Infinity was another Toys to Life thing that Disney tried to do to compete with Skylanders. It was alright. I'm starting to realize that Locked In and Love Island are two sides of the same coin. Locked In is the male equivalent to what Love Island is for girls, except instead of a bunch of Instagram models having a PG-13 Diddy party, it's grown men putting phones in each other's faces, but you get the similarity. Both of them have alliances and betrayals and highlight reels and drama, and most importantly, both of them have insane parasocial relationships for the people that are on the show. Well, Locked In isn't really a show, but for the sake of argument, we're gonna call it a show, and if I had to choose between Love Island or Locked In, I'm gonna go with Locked In. I'm just not really a Love Island type of guy, nor do I really feel that entertained watching a bunch of adults do very, very softcore porn in front of a camera, but, you know, Locked In, I don't even know what the fuck it's supposed to be about. I thought it was about exercise, but from all the clips that I'm seeing, it's just like clip farming. It's non-stop clip farming. And I'm not too, you know, well-versed in the Cookieverse lore. All I know is Clav is the bad guy, correct me if I'm wrong. And then the Sam guy, he's like the good guy, I think. I don't know. It's all just a bit of a blur to me. But what I'm trying to say is both of these shows share striking similarities to the point where I would call them the same thing, but in different fonts. Obviously, no one in the Locked In challenge is like making out or having sex with each other, but if they started doing that, I wouldn't even notice. Marvel Rivals is a fucking gooner game, bro. I can't keep defending this shit. After I just saw the new summer skins that they fucking dropped, I am 110% convinced that the developers for this game know their audience and they know them a little too well. Because what the fuck are we doing, bro? Like, these new summer skins kind of remind me of when Marvel Rivals first came out and people were using mods to make the characters look different. And there were mods that just literally had the characters naked with their ass out. Bro, you don't even need mods anymore. That shit's just in the game now. It's just a part of the game. Holy shit. You know, there were conversations of Marvel Rivals being a gooner game way early on within its life cycle when it first came out, and I would brush that off as people just hating because, like, come on, bro, like, really? Are you serious? But now, no, like, now I definitely know what type of game this is. On the bright side, all the characters are adults, so it's ethical gooning. If you want to enjoy that game and if you want to buy those skins, all power to you. I can't hate on that, but holy fuck, what the hell? When I first saw those skins, I had to I have to do a double take. What the fuck am I looking at? Is this real? Is this real? It's in the game? This is real? Oh my goodness. But also, is it just me or is Marvel Rivals like low-key falling off? People were saying that it was going to be the next Overwatch, the Overwatch killer. Yeah, that shit did not even have 10% of Prime Overwatch's power. Bro, Prime Overwatch back in the day when it was popping, oh, nothing is ever rivaling that. Marvel Rivals Prime doesn't even come close. Is Kidz Bop actually successful and profitable, or is that shit just a front to launder money? Because how are these guys still in business? Who is funding these Kidz Bop albums? It is 2025 and we still have Kidz Bop albums dropping. And I don't know what their target audience is supposed to be, because when I was a child, when I was ages 9 to 13, which is what I presume to be their target audience, I knew of Kidz Bop, I knew they existed, and I would not even look at them twice, bro. I would fucking laugh at the thought of listening to Kidz Bop. Why would I do that when I can just listen to the real song? When I can just go listen to the real version of the song that they're making a cover of, and it's better 99% of the time. In fact, I'm gonna say 100. I don't think there's ever been a case where a Kidz Bop cover has been better than the original song that they're parodying. There we go, parodying. And I get the point of Kidz Bop is to provide PG-13 safe alternatives to songs that might go over some bad topics like cussing, sex, violence, drugs, blah, blah, blah. But bro, like, you can't tell me that motherfuckers jammed to Kidz Bop. Who was listening to Kidz Bop? When I was a kid, I didn't like that shit. I still know I don't like that shit. So I need to know, where are these 1.8 million monthly listeners on Spotify coming from? These can't be real people. It has to be a front. It has to be some sort of way to launder money. I refuse to believe that there is a Kidz Bop fan base. I always knew he was a pedophile. I could feel it in my bones. If you don't know who DKN is, he's this Hispanic content creator who allegedly is being arrested and tried on counts of having CP. This is a second-degree felony, and apparently he got released on bail for $50K. I really hope that's not the case. I hate this motherfucker. I have never liked this guy ever since I laid eyes on him. This tatted up Oompa Loompa has been nothing but a stain on the Hispanic community, and why he is as popular as he is, I don't know. He's weird as fuck. Even before this, he's always been weird, and there's been multiple other alleged cases of him having inappropriate conversations with minors on Instagram. But now that the proof is in the pudding, now that we're really seeing what type of sick and twisted tastes he has behind closed doors, I have a big fat smile on my face. Yes, I've been praying on his downfall, bro. Yes, he deserves this. Keep that motherfucker locked up. Keep him locked up, bro. We don't need him. Trust me, society will be fine with a 5'5" Mexican dude who's tatted up not being around. Trust me, we'll manage. We'll manage just fine. I remember this one viral clip. He was doing a TikTok live with Lalo, and he told Lalo, "Hey, I'm gonna go stream with Esley. She has more clout than all y'all." And Lalo was like, "Bro, that girl is 12 years old. Why do you want to do that?" And he's like, that's literally my daughter." Well, what did you have saved exactly? Because not only did they charge you with having it, but also attempts to distribute? Hello? Yeah, bro. Fuck DKN. I'm glad he's locked up. And if he's not locked up, I pray he gets locked up. Gamma Jack has got to be one of the most overglazed fictional characters in history. I'm seeing all these TikTok posts on some, oh, Gamma Jack was a beast. Oh, Gamma Jack was dangerous. Bro, y'all don't know about Gamma Jack. Bro, we have a single image of him. That is all that we know. And his very brief audio entry and as much bits and pieces as we could get together from the very extremely brief amount of screen time that he had on The Incredibles. Bro, I saw a TikTok post of some dude ranking his top 5 superheroes, and Gamma Jack was on that list. What the hell are we doing, bro? I don't like to use the term TikTok taste because it seems like such a redundant term, but if you actually rank Gamma Jack in your top 5 superheroes, you genuinely have TikTok taste. What the fuck do you mean to tell me he's in your top 5 up there with Batman, Spider-Man, The Flash, Superman? Like, bro, Gamma Jack barely has any information. We don't know this guy. Sure, he's an interesting character. He's basically the Homelander of the Incredibles universe because he's egotistical, he's good looking, he's extremely powerful, he believes soups to be superior to human beings. Sure, cool. But we barely know anything about him. And keep in mind, he also got murked by the same robots that Syndrome built. So truly, how strong could he be? I know that the entire point of the robots is that they adapt to the superheroes so they can kill them, but at the same time, am I really going to be putting this guy up on the same pedestal that I put the big superheroes? I know, bro, because we barely know anything about him. He was a side character. He was just a piece of exposition. My goodness. I would like to see more Incredibles movies, though, and more things in the Incredibles franchise, because great movies, and there's a lot they could do with that world. I want Frozone to have his own spin-off. How would you feel if the sperm that created you came from a Roblox e-dater? That's the exact future that David Baszucki wants for the world. CEO of Roblox saying some bullshit like, we want to implement dating onto our platform. Why? I can't be the only one that thinks that Roblox should be used for video games? Is that a hot take? Am I just being old-fashioned? Maybe I should try to go find my future wife on Roblox. And, you know, David, come a little closer. I'll share a little insider tip with you. Adults already date on your platform. They just don't date other adults. Any adult that's going on to Roblox with the intention to date was most likely not trying to date adults in the first place, if you catch my drift. He might have been going for something a little bit on the younger side. They might have been pre-ordering. And I know that you're trying to make these 17+ experiences where you have to confirm your age and cussing is allowed and now you can find love. Bro, no one's gonna do that shit. I promise you, people don't go on Roblox. The majority of people don't go on there with the sole intention of finding their future partner. They just want to play video games. And if you really want to fix anything, fix your dog shit moderation. Try to do a little bit more into improving that instead of trying to add e-dating as an official part of your game. I think that would be good. Am I crazy? I don't know. Implement these ideas, see how they go. Put me on the Roblox team. Shit, bro. I'll get the job done. We will smite all e-daters. I don't think he wants to do that, though. In fact, I think he wants there to be Roblox sex. That might be the end goal. Do you guys know Louis Saunderson? That name might not sound familiar, but I promise you, you know him. This guy is my favorite TikTok actor on the entire platform, and he is behind some absolutely generational videos. Let me share some with you. Police officer rushes to crime scene where his daughter has been found. Man gets killed in hospital by werewolf. Father saves baby from tornado. Dad's family attacked by intruder. Do you notice a common denominator among all of his posts? This man puts himself in the most agonizing, sad, and painful scenarios humanly possible. This dude hasn't had a good day since he made his account. Can the writers please give this guy one good day? Every single time that I see a post about this guy, he is in complete agony, pain, and despair, and I love it. I eat that shit up every single time. He's one of those TikTok actors who, I'm not gonna say that he's doing these amazing Oscar-level performances, but he definitely sells it. I believe it a lot more than I believe 99% of the other TikTok acting that I've seen on the platform. This guy is in genuine despair and pain. You can hear the pain in his voice every time that he screams. Oh my goodness. Chef's kiss. This guy, he's in my top 5 creators long term. This dude has been committed. He has never made a single happy fucking post in his life. And please give this dude a good day. That's all. Can the writers just be a little kinder to him? Like, damn. Toby Fox is one of the greatest musical minds of our generation because his music achieves something that very few pieces ever do, and that's telling entire narratives and stories without uttering a single sentence. This guy's songs are so well made that you can immediately tell what character belongs to a specific song just by listening to the music. You don't even have to play the game or know any of the lore to understand which song was made for what character. His music, his original soundtracks for Undertale and Deltarune don't just exist beside the games, they define the games. Oh my goodness, it's so fucking... Another way of knowing that this guy's music is an absolute masterclass is in the fact that his songs have transcended the games that they're tied to. Yes, all the music that he composes is made for his indie games, but you're still gonna hear that music regardless of whether you play the games or not. I have not touched Undertale or Deltarune in my life. I plan on beating the games eventually. I don't know when that's gonna be, but those songs are so good and so popular that you see them in edits, YouTube videos. Insert this other piece of internet media, it's probably gonna be there. They have made absolute pillars of the internet. Megalovania, bro, that song fed generations in its prime. Sans is still talked about to this. I guess what I'm really trying to say in this video, besides glazing Toby Fox, which he absolutely deserves a praise, is that he teaches us that a melody can say more than 1,000 words, and I think that is a beautiful lesson. One of my greatest fears is posting any piece of content on the internet where I genuinely try my hardest and I do everything in my power to put in the most effort possible in order to have the best end product, and a motherfucker says, hey, this shit is ass, and I'm like, okay, then you do better, and they actually do? Oh my god. No, bro, I can't let that happen to me. If you say the words, you do it better, that is a death sentence. You are asking for it. You are begging to get embarrassed. Nowadays, haters are evolving. Back then, haters were just trolls. They would just talk shit, and they wouldn't actually do anything, because their words were just that, words. Nowadays, haters are a whole different breed. They don't just want to see you fail, they want to be the reason for your demise. They want to be the ones to wipe the smile off your face and ruin your day. That's why I'm never going to say those words. That's one of my greatest fears. You know the aura loss that you're going to experience when you say some shit like you do it better, and a motherfucker actually does? I've already seen multiple examples of people who post their drawings, someone in the comments is like, hey, this shit is some hot ass. And the artist is so confident, and they're like, okay, then you do it better. And they actually do. They actually do. They post a video responding, and it's actually a better drawing? Yeah. You got that, bro. I'm not even gonna say anything. If someone says that my shit is ass, I'm not gonna say you do it better. I'm probably just gonna insult them. If I had a quarter for every time a gay guy hit me up on this account and tried to flirt with me in DMs, I would actually have a fair chunk of change. And I'm not saying this in a rude or derogatory way on some gay go away type shit or I rebuke thee, get away from me. It's not like that. It just makes me wonder. It makes me curious what about me specifically is so appealing to gay men, because I've made a video about this in the past. If I had to track the amount of dudes that have liked me versus girls throughout my entire life, the ratio is honestly like 4-to-1. In fact, probably higher than that. So it just makes me wonder how I have this natural affinity towards dudes, and it's just like quite literally the opposite with girls. It's like the universe is trying to tell me something. Does the universe want me to switch teams, swim on that side of the pool, join the sausage fest? Who knows? All I know is that this is a very odd coincidence that has happened too many times for me not to notice. And, I'll make the odd fanboy video here or there. I'll make some jokes. I'll tell you a joke, but I'll never tell you a lie. It's just not something that I'm really trying to dive into. What did that guy say? A booty hole is not a vagina. And we have to be a little cognizant and something about what we're particularly diving into. Something along those lines. This is just a filler video, but Denji is a very interesting character, because in my eyes, he's some of the best representation for male exploitation that we have in modern media. And a lot of people don't really understand his character and just chalk him up as a horny MC who wants to touch tits, which couldn't be further from what he actually is, so I want to talk about him. Obvious spoilers for Chainsaw Man. If you haven't watched the anime or read the manga, now's your time to click off the video if you don't want to get spoiled. But as I was saying, before we get started, you have to look at Denji since his introduction. His entire life is a blueprint for abuse. Abuse since birth. His father abused him, blamed him for his own mother's death. He was then forced into debt by the Yakuza, in which he was exploited once more. His only companion throughout his entire life was Pochita, his demon dog, his companion, his only friend, right? By the time that we see Denji in the manga, on the first chapter, his entire life hasn't been about living, it's been about surviving. He's never had the luxury of enjoying his life, not even a single day of it, because he's just locked in this primitive survival state, and that is going to play a part into the next thing. Makima, who is the main antagonist for a good chunk of the manga, is the perfect predator. Why? Because she knows just what buttons to push in order to make Denji submit to her, which is her ultimate goal. She doesn't view Denji as a human, she wants him to be her dog, to submit to her, to erode any sense of agency that he has. And how does she do that? By exploiting Denji's desperation for love and any sort of human connection. She gives him that, but she drip feeds it to him in very small doses, always leaving him wanting more, thus continuing the entire cycle of events that unfold later throughout the first arc. One of Denji's earliest goals in the manga is to touch boobs, and that might seem like an extremely stupid and nonsensical goal, but it only goes to show how tainted his perception of love actually is. His entire life he's grown up looking at affection as something that is transactional. In other words, society taught him that the only value that he has is what he can offer physically, not emotionally. Denji's story is an impactful one for one of two reasons. Number one, he showcases male vulnerability in the rawest, most ugly form possible, which is something that not a lot of shows or pieces of media ever tackle. He also shows us that victims can have ugly coping mechanisms. Denji is hypersexual as a result of the trauma that he experienced his entire life. And it's not cool, it's not cute, it's not quirky, but it's him. And that is why, in my opinion, Denji is one of the most honest portrayals that we have of male sexual abuse in modern media. And it pains me to see that so many people don't understand his character at all, but that's what I personally think. And that's it. The Gerber allegations. Did you see this screenshot? He really did it. His career is over. Is what I would say if I had a room temperature IQ with zero ability to think for myself. Even before he made this video, or like his video debunking everything, I fully knew that all that shit was fake, because if you read the quote-unquote proof that they have against him, it is a bunch of random screenshots of different Instagram and Discord DMs saying a story. It's literally their own fanfic about him. Fucking Aesop's Fables over here on some, yeah, I can't show any proof of the school, and I can't show any proof at all for privacy reasons, but source, trust me, bro. Yeah, trust me, he did it. Are we serious? False allegations can ruin someone's life, and they're really not something that you should take lightly in the slightest, which is why I'm gonna make this video just to come out here and say that I've known Gerber for a pretty long time, since like before both of us had 10K followers, and I fully know that he would never even do fucking a smidget of the shit that they were accusing him of. He's a genuine guy. He's a good guy. He just goes on TikTok, he talks, and that's it. He doesn't do any of the shit that they were accusing him of. And just because you disagree with someone on the internet, it doesn't give you the green light to make these like extremely heinous accusations of you did this with this young girl, or you tried to do this to this high school girl. Like, that's fucking lame, dude. That is loser behavior. And I don't know who started it, nor do I care. I just wanted to come on here and say that I am 100% sure that he didn't do any of that shit, and he already debunked it regardless, so you don't need to hear from me. I'll also say this. Has he made some bad takes in the past? Because I hear people critique him on that a lot. Yeah, that Fuda Zelda thing, oh, that was a miss. That was a huge, huge miss. And I remember we talked about that, but he apologized, he took accountability, and he's growing as a result from that. So I don't really know what more you could want. And I saw a lot of his fans were attacking the dude that he was beefing with. I forgot his name. But I'll also say this. If you are genuinely a fan of his, and you are going onto someone else's account, telling them like really, really nasty things like death threats and rape threats, you are stupid. You are making him look bad. The same person that you are trying to defend, you are making them look 10 times worse by association, because you really shouldn't do that. You know, you can go on there, leave a comment like, hey, he debunked this, and you should stop spreading misinformation. That's a good comment, right? You shouldn't say some very unsavory things on his behalf, because that makes him look bad. Thesis of the video, Gerber, he would never do that. Not only did he beat the allegations, that's the homeboy, that's the GOAT, so. I've seen a lot of people arguing over the statement, all art is political. And it's an interesting debate to talk about because I can see both sides of the spectrum to a degree. On one hand, politics influences every aspect of your life, and it will undoubtedly also bleed into art, all art. On the other hand, a lot of people think that there's plenty of art pieces that are simple, devoid of meaning, and apolitical. Some people will argue that the fact that it's apolitical makes it political, and it's just a whole rabbit hole that I'm not interested in going down. I'm leaning towards the side of art being political. I want to agree with this. But then I think to some art pieces that I've seen in the past, and I struggle. I struggle to place them anywhere on the political spectrum, and I'll give you an example. About 3 or 4 years ago, one of my homeboys sends me a picture of Sandy Cheeks. Like, completely unprompted. I don't know what the fuck was wrong with them. But it's Sandy Cheeks, and she's giant. She's humongous. And she has a penis. And she's using the penis as a vacuum to suction all of the buildings and cars that are on the streets. So, like, she just has a giant dick that she's holding. She's like, just like using it as a vacuum. Is that political? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I struggle to place that anywhere on the spectrum. Is the 17 terabytes of yaoi porn that my homegirl has saved political? What are the politics behind that? But I know that outliers don't equate to the entire argument being wrong. It's just an interesting thing to think about, because if all art is truly political, how am I going to be able to look at something really otherworldly, really peculiar, and label that as some form of political stance? I wouldn't be able to, but I think that's it from me. Honeybee Husband is a very peculiar individual, and if you don't know who he is, this guy is getting a lot of flack because he admitted to dating a 16-year-old girl when he was 21, I believe, or like being in a relationship with her. And if you don't know why that's bad, dude's a pedophile, obviously. I'm sure you could connect the dots. And I watched his entire 7-something minute explanation about how now he knows it's wrong and he grew as a result, and now he's not going to let 16-year-olds try to date him anymore. In his exact words, when that 16-year-old girl hit him up on Instagram, he fell for it. He fell for it. How do you fall into being a pedophile? Did she like hold out a carrot on a stick for you and you fell for it hook, line, and center? What the fuck are we talking about? But, you know, if you couldn't tell, that's why no one likes him. And it's also why all the comments on his videos are turned off, because in his words, people are pushing a narrative. Now, if you yourself admitted to dating or being in a relationship with this underage girl, and people were to call you a pedophile, is this a narrative or is this fact? And I see so many black pill edits of him being made, and usually I don't support making random edits tearing into other people's looks just because they don't look a way that you like. But I'm all for making black pill edits of a pedophile. Like, low-key, I'm fine with it. Hey, keep them coming. I'm gonna keep liking them shits, bro. Also, in one of his videos, because I was scrolling through the videos in his account, he says that he works with children. That is his full-time job. His real job is working with children. And I can't be the only one who gets rubbed the wrong way, knowing that a guy who would date a 16-year-old as an adult also works with children full-time. I'm not saying he would do anything, but I'm also saying I wouldn't let him near my kids. Meowba is one of the greatest rage baiters of the century, and it's hard to find anyone that can stack up against her. Obviously, I know that she's a bad, terrible person, but she's like the Gojo of rage bait. It's like how Gojo was born with Limitless plus the 6 eyes, so it was like a 1 in a million combination that made him overpowered. She was born with the ability to draw, plus being a horrible person. And together they combine into the perfect rage bait, the strongest rage baiter. And I remember one bad thing that she did, which was like really the cream of the crop, was drawing her original character having sex with Technoblade's dead body. Yeah, that, I can see why people dislike her, right? I don't think anyone's gonna try and defend her. But every time that she posts, I scroll through her account, and it is just non-stop hate. Albeit she deserves the hate, but can you find anyone else that can channel that much unbridled rage and hatred directly to their account besides Meowba? It'll be hard. You can definitely find a few people on the internet that have reached that level of internet animosity, but it'd be hard to find someone that beats her. And I remember she had like an entire religion. In fact, I'm pretty sure she's still on that entire like religion of hers that she made up, which is super duper stupid. But yeah, thesis of the video, name me a better rage baiter than Meowba. I want you to. It'll be hard. You're not gonna. So today is National Mango Day, and to celebrate, I'm gonna be eating a mango. Okay, thank God I had a plate underneath. You know, I'd be lying if I said I didn't laugh at mango memes every now and then. I know. I'm not proud of it, but I don't know. Something about it. I know before mango, there were other little viral brain rot foods, right? Before this, we had the Grimace Shake and that one burger. And before that, there was the Doritos and the Mountain Dew. But it really makes me wonder, what's going to be the next food that's just going to strike fear into the hearts of people that hear it in public? I kind of want it to be cantaloupe. Like, the word cantaloupe, it just rolls off the tongue. Cantaloupe. Cantaloupe. Also, rest in peace, Ozzy Osbourne, who tragically passed away today on National Mango Day. If you don't know who Ozzy Osbourne is, frontman for Black Sabbath. If you don't know who Black Sabbath is, then I feel bad for you. Even if you haven't listened to Black Sabbath, you've definitely heard the songs before. They're as mainstream as it gets. They're super duper popular. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, some of their songs are in an Iron Man movie. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure they are. Anyways, that's it from me. I'm gonna finish this mango later. 2 overpowered abilities with some caveats. Which one are you choosing? The first power is called Dale's Demise. Upon choosing this power, you now have the ability to control financial misery, and anybody that you lock eyes with becomes a target. You cannot choose when to turn this power on or off. It is permanently on, so anybody that you look at will be affected by the power. Once somebody becomes a target, they are given the Curse of Debt. What does this do? Well, it basically puts their entire being in a state of perpetual monetary deficit. Every time they breathe, every time they say a word, every time they blink, it will cost money. And that money will be deducted from their bank account until they have absolutely zero funds left. But it doesn't just stop there. Once there is no more money to be collected in the real world, Dale's demise begins chipping away at pieces of your soul, and eventually desecrates your entire body until you turn to dust and die. The only way to counter this ability if you are affected is to kill the user, so they'd have to kill you. If that does not happen, by the time their body disintegrates, they will cease to exist permanently. The second power is called Covenant Collapse. If you choose this power, you are now given a sentient Covenant jersey that looks a little something like this. But it is not just any jersey. This shirt is imbued with life fibers, capable of giving its users extraordinary powers. It's also made out of the flesh of every single forgotten warlord and king and tyrant and ruler that ever existed in human history, making it one giant war-hungry killing machine, and it becomes permanently attached to you. It imbues itself onto your skin. Once this happens, obviously you can never take it off, but it doesn't do anything unless you activate it. Once you activate the shirt, for 24 hours, you will have extraordinary powers. Your senses will be heightened, your muscles will begin to morph and shape into absolute superhuman sizes, you're going to have increased intelligence, it'll turn you into a superhuman, but only for 24 hours. You are not immortal in this state, you're not bulletproof, you can still very easily be killed, but with the amount of strength that you now have at your disposal, it will be very, very, very hard to dispatch of you. But, like I said, it only lasts for 24 hours, and the shirt demands sacrifice. Once those 24 hours are up, you have exactly 60 minutes to sacrifice somebody to the shirt. You're gonna have to grab someone, rip them apart, and let the blood flow down onto the Covenant jersey. If you are unable to do this within the 60-minute time period, the shirt will collapse in on itself, killing you like a spring trap, like the spring lock suit from Five Nights at Freddy's. I think of that, but with the Covenant shirt, boom, you are just dead. Also, every single time that you activate the Covenant jersey's powers, the shirt demands more sacrifice, and the amount of sacrifices that you need to give to the shirt doubles each time. The first time, you only need to kill one person. The second time, it'll be 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, and so on and so forth, and what have you. So those are my two powers. Dale's Demise, Covenant Collapse. If I had to choose between which one I want to go with, I'm gonna go with the Covenant Collapse. I'm gonna be honest. Having all those types of dope-ass superpowers sounds pretty cool. Sure, I'm gonna have to murk some people along the way, but, you know, I'll just make sure it's like bad guys, so then I'll feel good about myself. I kill two birds with one stone, and yeah, it'll be... What would you do if you were the opposite sex for 24 hours? Is an extremely overdone question. I think it's kind of dumb, and frankly, you can't do much in a single day, so I'm going to make it a little juicier. You have the option to become the opposite sex for an entire year. If you choose yes, you will be teleported into an alternate reality where you are yourself, but as the opposite gender. Everybody else in your life is identical, and it is a one-to-one replica of the world that you already live in, with the only difference being that you are now a girl, or if you're a girl, you are now a boy. Now things are getting a little more interesting. So here's my plan as to exactly what I would do if I was a girl for an entire year. The first order of business is to infiltrate an extremely heavy male space. I'm talking a community that is so heavily filled with dudes that it is a straight sausage fest devoid of any woman. Think Hearts of Iron 4, any speedrunning Discord, the underground rap scene. I need to make sure that there are no girls in this niche, or at least as little as possible, so I have no competition. Once I infiltrate this community, I will become the perfect LARP. I will steal their lingo. I will act like them. I'm not going to be like other girls. I need to build this perfect aesthetic as the one girl that is just different enough to like your extremely niche interests, to be appealing, to be attractive. Now that stage 1 is complete, we move on to stage 2. The next step is to become the poster girl for this specific community. I need every single dude in here to know who I am, know my face, and know my name. And like I said before, the guys in this space do not interact with girls that much. So every single interaction that they have with me will feel 10 times more powerful, to the point where they depend on me. They form parasocial relationships with me. They absolutely adore me and worship me like a goddess. And once I reach the height of my popularity, I will disappear. The year will be over, and I will go back to my reality, and I will permanently leave an impression on this community of dudes, to the point where they'll never be able to find another girl like me, and they will only be thinking of that version of me inside of their mind for the rest of their lives. When they get married, the girl that they're getting married to, they will always be thinking, damn, I wish it was that one girl that was in that niche internet community that I met all those years ago. And that is my plan if I was to be a girl for an entire year. Would that legacy be extremely meaningful? No, but it's a legacy that I'm dedicated to leave should I be presented with the opportunity. Deku has gotta be the only main character in fiction to win a fight and still look like a bitch. Oh my goodness, Death Battle has done irreparable damage to Deku's reputation, and I am loving every single second of it. Those fucking memes, me bully man, this is how we beat up street tiers, give me Hawkeye, fucking, oh my goodness, Kachan, Craig of the Creek, how are we gonna beat him? The amount of joy that I get watching Deku's name get absolutely dragged through the mud over a fan animation, it's hard to articulate it into words. My joy knows no bounds. I'm having the best day of my life right now. This dude is getting absolutely cooked. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a huge power scaler guy. In fact, I think that entire side of the internet is a little bit miserable because it just boils down to you and another grown man arguing in DMs over which fictional character is stronger. But even I know, Deku would probably beat Miles Morales pretty easily. I mean, the dude has like fucking superpowers and he's punching holes through buildings in the manga from what I heard. And Miles, I love him. He's a cool character, but he's not exactly doing all of that. Still, you know, a lot of people treat Death Battle like it's the Holy Bible, even though it's just a fan animation. Regardless, I don't really care. I am absolutely loving the Deku slander. Every single time I see a fucking slideshow of Deku getting made fun of on my For You page with the audio, y'all know what the audio is. It was that one slander audio. I'm not gonna sing the song, but you know exactly what it is. Chef's kiss. Absolutely my favorite thing to watch on the internet. I'm living for this shit. Please. One thing I never realized about The Amazing World of Gumball when I was first watching it as a child is just how freaked out this show is. The shit that they had Gumball and Darwin doing absolutely flew over my head, and I have the perfect example of that. Recently, I was rewatching the episodes, and I came across this episode called The Storm. If you don't know what this episode was about, Gumball basically ruins Alan and Carmen's entire relationship. They were a couple, and now they're no longer a thing. Kaputs. Why? Because Gumball kisses Carmen in an attempt to make Alan jealous. It was Carmen's entire plan. That's not the point, though. After all of this happens, Alan is extremely sad. Alan is the balloon guy, and he's all depressed. He's crying in the bathroom. Gumball comes in to cheer him up. He's like, hey, you need to get back into the dating scene. Like, anybody would be lucky to have you. If you reinflate, you might have a chance with Masami, who's the cloud girl. And Alan tells him, I don't have the strength to reinflate. So what does Alan do? He fucking lifts up his, like, I don't even know what the knot is supposed to be. Is it like his butthole? Is it his penis? Who knows? It's all of them. It's his mouth, it's his ass, it's his dick. And guess what Gumball does? He reinflates him in the bathroom. He sucks his dick in the bathroom. He just gave him apology head. He kissed his girl, and then he goes into the bathroom and sucks him off. Like, oh my goodness. And then, you know, Alan is all happy walking out of the bathroom, and Gumball, bro, you could see the look on his eyes. Oh my goodness. When I never really realized the innuendos in the show. But now that I'm older, I can pick up on them. But Jesus, you know, this shit made me laugh, and I wanted to share it with you guys. Something that never fails to amaze me is just how versatile the Hamilton musical is. I'm convinced that every single fandom on the internet has at least one edit with a Hamilton song without fail. Every single time. It doesn't matter what it is, they can relate at least one song back to Hamilton. I just saw a fucking Lincoln Loud ex-Boss Baby Hamilton edit, and it worked! It fucking worked! And I was like, what the hell am I watching? But it really did work. It's also funny to think about how the entire musical is just one giant fanfiction. That really is what it boils down to. Although, technically, yes, it is about real life events, and it is supposed to be told from the autobiographical perspective of Alexander Hamilton. Bro, so much of that shit is played up to the max. The drama cranked up times 10. Thomas Jefferson was not a charismatic, sassy black man. He was a balding, fat white dude. But, you know, I couldn't imagine Thomas Jefferson any other way. I don't think I will ever in my life come across another piece of music that has as much versatility as the Hamilton soundtrack. Even if you don't like musicals, even if you don't listen to those at all, you have still listened to those songs one way or another. Like, their influence just bleeds into everything. And to the person that made that one edit with fucking Lincoln from the Loud House and the Boss Baby as a Hamilton edit, fucking 10 out of 10, bro. Do y'all remember Annoying Orange? Growing up, I always hated that fucking show. I don't know what about the entire aesthetic of Annoying Orange pissed me off, but I just think it was deeply unsettling. Looking at fruits that have human eyes and human mouths, talking and making jokes and just like doing whatever random shit they were doing throughout the entire show, it just filled me with this sort of visceral fear. I couldn't bring myself to watch it, but from the clips that I did see of it, the Annoying Orange was the OG rage bait. This guy was just an insufferable asshole every single time. Bro, I know Apple hated him. He was like, hey Apple, can you do this? Like, oh my god. Annoying Orange is also where the Hey Apple clip originated, where it'd be like, hey Apple. And it was like some extremely horrifying shit on the next slide. Regardless, Annoying Orange was one of those shows that I grew up watching, but I actively went out of my way to not watch it. I would only consume it through the commercials or from the Cartoon Network website, because in my opinion, it was just too scary to be a kid show. Even today, I looked back on clips today before I made this video, and I was creeped the fuck out. I don't like looking at the Annoying Orange. He's just unsettling, but man, you robe. Life is good. Be careful what you jerk off to. I cannot stress that enough. The second that you let this head stop doing the thinking, disaster strikes. The worst shit imaginable is gonna fucking happen to you. And this story I'm about to tell you is a prime example as to why. So when I was 15 years old, I had this friend at my church named Jimmy. Now, I'm not a super duper religious guy, but my parents forced me to go, so what the fuck was I gonna say? I had to make some sort of friend. I wasn't gonna sit there by myself. So here I am with Jimmy. Me and Jimmy have shared common interests. We both play the same video games. So we start talking, we hit it off, and now we're all friends. We're buddy-buddy. And he feels comfortable sharing a lot of things with me, which he probably shouldn't have shared. But, you know, he starts telling me about his romantic pursuits, his endeavors, and trying to find a partner of the opposite sex. And he's getting rejected a lot. He's throwing straight air balls. He is doing blindfolded half-court shots with both hands tied behind his back, and he's only trying to use his head to bounce the ball into the rim. It's not going well at all. So he downloads Wiz. And after he does this, he tells me that his entire life changed. He's getting all these girls. He's like a fucking player. Bro, Wiz is the fucking G League. What are we doing? And I told him this. I told him, like, you know, these girls, they're not real. You know, like, sure, they exist on your phone, but if you turn off your phone till Wi-Fi do its part, they're not there anymore. He didn't care. He got with this girl from Wiz, and they were talking for a couple weeks, and he said that things were getting super duper spicy, and like they were really digging deep, if you get what I'm trying to say. And he says that he's in love with this girl. She's the one. He's gonna marry this girl. At the time, I was just a gullible 15-year-old. I could only take his word at face value. One day he's at my house, and he's on FaceTime with this mysterious girlfriend. He said that he wanted to talk to her real quick, so I didn't want to intrude. I just left the room, let him do his thing. About 20 minutes pass, and I hear him fucking shriek. The scream of absolute despair and agony, and I see him on my room, fucking hunched up in the corner like this, shaking. I tell him, what the fuck happened? And he basically tells me that his girlfriend was not much of a girl. When she's on FaceTime with him, she has the camera just tilted at her legs, so all you can see are from the legs and below, but you can't see anything up above. And when he asks for his request, she obliges. What the fuck does she do? Turns around the camera, points it at her chest. All you see is a straight fucking dude's chest. No boobs to be found. And as soon as that happened, that's when he told me that he started fucking screaming. He finds out that he was just getting catfished the whole time. He was jerking off to a femboy. And to this day, we have never talked about it again. He left my house that day in an absolute state of shock. And I have lost contact with Jimmy. So Jimmy, if you ever are seeing this video, my heart goes out to you, man. But I think he's just secretly gay. I feel like at that point, if you were really that attracted to a dude the entire time, okay, sure, he got catfished. I get that. He didn't know. His brain thought that it was a girl. But, you know, there might be something he's not telling me. Anyways, moral of the story, be careful what you do online.